was another very busy week here at the Capitol as committees continued to hear bills, testimony, and presentations on many different subjects. Here's a look back at what happened during the week. After years of attempts, a bill that would allow Minnesotans to buy liquor on Sundays passed the House Monday by a bipartisan 85-45 vote.
Recognize the member from Hennepin, Representative Loon, to introduce your bill.
House File 30, sponsored by Representative Jennifer Loon, would limit Sunday alcohol sales from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., lifting a Prohibition-era ban on buying off-sale liquor. Monday through Saturday sales would remain unchanged.
It's time, members, it's time. We're one of only 12 states that does not allow liquor to be sold on Sundays. All of our border states do. We are losing business across our borders every Sunday.
Dissenters argued lifting the ban would hurt small liquor outlets with limited resources who would be forced to compete with better-staffed big box stores.
It's an avenue for big box stores to eliminate small, locally owned liquor stores.
Representative Jason Rarick sponsors House File 329 that would, in part, expand the list of legal fireworks in Minnesota to include aerial and audible devices, including bottle rockets and Roman candles. However, local units of government could prevent such sales. The bill, as amended, was approved Tuesday on a split voice vote by the House Public Safety and Security Policy and Finance Committee and sent to the House Government Operations and Elections Policy Committee.
Many of you know, if you drive around on Independence Day and the weekends around it, the fireworks are here. The state of Wisconsin, the states of North and South Dakota are selling these fireworks, and they're selling them to Minnesotans.
Representative Deborah Hillstrom said she likes fireworks, but noted the bill could violate state law.
I have one of the challenges because I personally love fireworks. However, I don't like tent sales. I don't like people selling to children without their parents' consent. I don't like felons being in possession of explosive devices instead of guns or other kinds of devices. And so, members, there's a long list of folks who are opposed to the proposal at this time.
On Tuesday, the House Health and Human Services Reform Committee considered two bills sponsored by Representative Dave Baker that addressed opiate abuse. House File 770 would change how medical assistance covers injectable drugs that treat substance abuse, making it more affordable for healthcare providers and more accessible to patients. House File 1134 would prevent opiates from being dispensed more than 30 days after the prescription is issued.
Sheriff Stanek told me yesterday that, again, Hennepin County last year had a 30% increase in fatalities because of opioid and heroin deaths. So the problem is, I think that more people are becoming aware of it, but we're not slowing it down.
Cindy Wolstad was one of many who visited the Capitol Tuesday for Opioid Awareness Day on the Hill to support legislation intended to address different aspects of opioid addiction and treatment.
So this is why I'm here. It's for everybody to I am an opiate survivor. I am an addict and alcoholic survivor. And I'm going to live this life. And I'm going to fight for my children and my grandchildren so they do not end up being addicted like I was.
Approved Wednesday by the House Public Safety and Security Policy and Finance Committee were a pair of bills that would increase the criminal penalty for obstructing a freeway and airport access. Each was sent to the House floor. One of the bills considered by members was House File 390, sponsored by Representative Nick Zerwas. It would increase the penalty for a misdemeanor to a gross misdemeanor for someone who intentionally obstructs traffic that is entering, exiting, or on a trunk highway, or that is entering or exiting an airport.
This would stop the revolving door of people being booked, issued a ticket, and released, paying a $50 to $100 fine, and then, in some instances, literally driving right back to the freeway.
A handful of testifiers said that by disrupting the lives of others, they are better able to share their message.
I personally don't support the act of obstructing a highway. I don't. Or traffic in general. But I recognize that there are issues that are of such great importance to some communities that they feel compelled to do so in order to be heard.
Representative Jamie Becker-Finn said the bills fail to address unfair societal issues.
The reason we've had additional protests is because there is injustice here. When we talk about what happened on 94, it's because there is injustice here. And until we address the underlying injustice, we're going to continue to have dissent. And so instead of trying to further stifle dissent by increasing penalties, this bill is basically going to do the opposite as far as addressing those injustices.
A vote by the legislature Wednesday filled the University of Minnesota's 4 vacant Board of Regents positions. Nomination by a joint committee of the House and Senate was first established in 2005. A candidate needs a majority vote of the 201-member legislature to be elected to a seat. The quartet appointed by the legislature are Steve Svigum of Kenyon from the 2nd Congressional District, Darren Rocha of Independence from the 3rd Congressional District, David McMillan of Duluth from the 8th Congressional District, and Ken Powell of Golden Valley for the at-large seat. The House passed House File 3 Thursday, a bill that would let the state comply with the Federal Real ID Act of 2005, 72-58. That federal law sets standards for identification needed to access certain federal facilities and federally regulated commercial aircraft. Only people with enhanced driver's license or other IDs, such as passports, will be able to access those flights starting in January of 2018. Representative Dennis Smith sponsored the bill.
This bill gives Minnesotans the peace of mind knowing that they're going to fly. They will be able to fly to see a loved one in another state, to go see a loved one on a military base, or to visit a federal building. Members, the time has come. Minnesota needs to be not one of the few states in the country to not move on Real ID.
Companies that discriminate against Israel would have to find another state to do business with under legislation passed Thursday in the House. Passed by a vote of 98-28, House File 400, sponsored by Representative Ron Krisha, would require that state contracts include a certification that the vendor does not discriminate against Israel.
We need to allow Israel to continue on its self-determination path, whatever that may be. You may agree or disagree with the government efforts. You may agree or disagree with anything in the Middle East, but the state of Minnesota shouldn't subsidize that. And we shouldn't discriminate against Israeli companies.
Representative Tina Liebling said she feared House File 400 would lead Minnesota down the slippery slope of using the power of government to tell citizens with whom they may associate.
This violates the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And simply adding a clause to the bill, as Representative Krisha did, a clause that says it doesn't stop protected speech or expression, does not change the fact that it does.
For more coverage on the Minnesota House of Representatives, check out our Session Daily coverage on our website, www.house.mn/Session Daily.